part 2 of Herping Arizona, a continuation of the Arizona Herpetological Association meeting with Chris Haas.
Of different sites, and understandably so, and I think that Arizona in particular is very, very good about that, but it does create a barrier for people wanting to get into herping, especially as we talked about women getting into herping. It can be very intimidating to be like, all right, I'm a young lady, I'm gonna go out and just be in the desert by myself, or maybe with 1 or 2 people. That can be a little scary.
Sure.
So what would be your advice for somebody wanting to get into it that is facing that barrier to entry?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked, because I've actually had female friends that are now field herpers that have relayed stories exactly like that. Hey, when I first started, I would ask people questions and they either didn't take me seriously because I was a woman, or they thought I couldn't do it, or whatever the case may be. My answer to that is groups like this. Everybody's here because we're either interested in field herping, or we have done it before, or what have you. The more people get to know you as a person, the more comfortable they're going to become, and the more they're going to trust you. From a personal perspective, just in the last couple of years, I've field herped with a number of women that I've never herped with before, but I got to know them a little bit before. There's sort of a vetting process, for lack of a better term. And so, yeah, from my perspective, understand this though, that there are going to be field herpers. You're never going to field herp with them. They're never going to give you the opportunity, and that sucks, because field herping is for everybody, or at least it should be. That said, there are enough good field herpers out there that are going to say, hey, look, I don't really know you yet. Let's get to know each other. I may take you to a very popular spot that everybody knows about. And I just kind of want to see, like, okay, how do you field herp? Not only that, but I'm also looking for, what are you doing after? Are you posting this as soon as you got home with a specific locale and who you went with and what you saw and so on and so forth? Or are you kind of like, you know, laying off a little bit? But yeah, to your point, it can be very difficult, specifically for women in a male-dominated field, to get to a point where you have people that you're comfortable with. Because a lot of times, we're out in the middle of the desert, there's nobody out there. You know, you have to have at least somewhat familiarity with the people that you're with. And that triggered something else, and I just lost it. If it comes back, I will, but thank you for the question.
Well, follow-up question to that, you did mention also like the surveys and stuff with Game and Fish. How do you get involved in that?
You can go to Arizona Game and Fish website, and you can search. A lot of times they will advertise those surveys. So if it's a black-footed ferret survey or a flat-tailed horned lizard survey, you actually can find information about it on the website.
Get on their emailing list. And then
That's another good, yeah.
I think there's actually a flat-tailed horned lizard BioBlitz coming up at the end of this month.
Perfect opportunity. Yep.
Yeah, so Game and Fish website, there's going to be groups of herpers heading down into the Yuma area, and there's going to be a lot of people out just looking and taking down locations and population counts for Game and Fish to use. And you'll meet a lot of herpers down there, I'm sure.
You had a question?
I was just gonna add to your, the words of caution and whatnot for, especially since it is so difficult to get into it sometimes. People are, so not everyone has great intentions for the animals, so that's another reason why they wanna get to know you as well. And they also want to kind of figure out what people are you gonna be talking to, or that you may have good intentions, but are the people you're talking to and have friends with, do they? So,
Yeah.
that's why they're so secretive for some of these spots.
Right. Arizona sort of has a reputation of being tight-lipped, and the reasons for that. You're right. Yeah, and a lot. The reasons for that is we have a lot of commercially desirable animals here that really, when you know what you're doing, aren't hard to find. So, if I want to protect those animals, I have to be very careful who I share with. Personal story along these lines. I got burned about 10 years ago now. There was a gentleman that was on Facebook. Him and I started talking. I did the vetting things I was telling you about. He was a researcher from Texas. He was doing telemetry studies with ornate blacktail rattlesnakes. Totally legit. I researched, he really, really, really wanted to find Arizona black rattlesnakes. So, and he was going to be coming out in about a week. So I was like, you know what? I vetted you. We've talked, I've reviewed your work, you're as good to go as I can, I can vet you at that time. So I took him out and we found some Arizona black rattlesnakes and everything was good. And then I find out later through a third party that he went right back to that place the next week after I took him and he collected every single animal that he saw. So, and I say that as a cautionary tale. I say that to say you never really know somebody else until but everybody, I say you're not an Arizona field herper until you've been burned. So, unfortunately it happens. Nobody has a crystal ball. I can't see inside your head. So, but it's, again, my primary concern here above anything else is the welfare of these animals. I don't want my actions and my intentions to compromise them in any way. So I'm going to take the cautious approach. And that seemed to have served me well. Any other questions?
Or you find an animal, have great photos of it, took a person there, and then 3 weeks later you see that exact animal matching your photos on a price list somewhere online.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
Horrible feeling.
That's an uncomfortable conversation to have with that other person. Yeah, so, again, it's just, I think to a certain extent, most of us have an internal barometer. Do we feel okay with doing this? Does this feel okay? Or if I'm starting to ask questions, it's probably a good idea not to do whatever it is I'm thinking about doing. So, any other questions? Okay. So in order to make up for this boring, bland slideshow, I believe there's about 11 pictures that I selected spanning 2007 to last year. I wanted to illustrate animals in their natural habitat doing what they naturally do. Most of them, I think all of them, if one is not in situ, I will tell you this is not an in situ animal. In situ again, it's how I found it. I didn't touch it, I didn't mess with it, whatever. So, with that being said,
Another random tip, check people's friends lists on Facebook to see who they know and are friends with and work with. That will give you a number sometimes about their intentions.
good call. I have one caution with that though. Is the whole principle of guilt by association. Somebody may be on my friends list. I've never actually met that person. And if I knew, what that person really was, they wouldn't be, but they sent me a friend's, we both like snakes and they sent me a request, so I accepted the request, so.
Oh no, I mean like if they're blatantly like hooker tongs in this thing and tailing an animal near like a den site in a photo or something
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, nope, I'm not talking to that person.
Okay. But yeah, that's a good call. So,
Can I ask a dumb question?
the only dumb question is the one that you haven't asked.
Okay, so obviously it's illegal to collect them in Arizona and resell. So like the guy you saw, was that just like a straight up illegal all the way? Or do people come from other states and then like illegally bring them back and legally?
That's not, it's anything but a dumb question. So, in Arizona prohibits the commercialization of any native wildlife, to include the
Vertebrate.
vertebrate, yes, to include the progeny of Arizona wildlife. So, for example, you can't sell a captive bred Arizona green rat snake. If it came from Arizona, it can never be sold, bought or sold, traded, so on and so forth. To your question, yes, there are people that come here from out of state and they collect Arizona animals with the intent to go back to their home state and sell them. Reference your point with the same animal that showed up on a price list a week later. Is that illegal? Yes, that's illegal. But once it leaves the political borders of Arizona, it's a federal issue. The feds, because it's now an interstate transport issue, would fall under the Lacey Act. Whether they want to pursue that or not, it's up to them.
You can go and see price lists for carrot-tailed chuckawalls that come from South Mountain, from places all around the country.
The problem with
No one does anything about it.
the problem with the enforcement is that Arizona Game and Fish does not get funding from the general fund. They get $0 from the zero. All of their monies come from licenses. So even if I don't plan on messing with the snake, I'm still going to buy my hunting license because that goes towards game and fish and these surveys that we've talked about and the conservation research. Tax on ammunition sales, and private donations. Those are the three primary drivers for game and fish. Other than that, if they don't get that money, they don't get money. So, not making excuses for them, they have a duty. But what I'm saying is the reality of the situation is, are they going to invest their money and their time and their resource on going after an elk hunter? Or are they against some guy that collected 2 snakes from Arizona? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yes, to your question, is it illegal?
So it's illegal, but people are still posting it, but they know maybe probably not.
I've even seen people say, go on price list, Huachuca's blacktail rattlesnake.
Yeah.
They'll tell you the mountain range that it came from. And once you get to know the look of these animals quite well, you can look at that animal, yeah, that's a Huachuca animal. If I've ever seen one, that's what it looks like. I'm never gonna tell you not to report it. I can tell you that, and if anybody here, don't tell me you've done illegal stuff. Just don't do it. I will report to Arizona Game and Fish. Anything comes of that, I don't know. I can tell you that I've reported one person, not for field herping stuff, because he had animals that he should not have. And they followed up with me and that case was resolved. I care that much about these animals, and it's a privilege to be able to go out and do this. And these people that are acting badly, no bueno.
Well, and it's also very important for our ecosystems. You know,
Absolutely.
we need these animals.
Yes,
To
yes.
keep it in balance.
All right. On with the photos. What happened to photo number 1? I don't know. Number 2. Yeah. This guy, first of all, does anybody not know what this is? We're all learning here. If you don't know, raise your hand, I'll tell you. Awesome. Okay. This is a Crotalus molossus. It is a northern black-tailed rattlesnake. He is on the road. He was found. I talked about the look of the animals. From the look of this animals with the gold and the black, this is from southeastern Arizona, the southeastern corner of the state. This is at dusk. Incidentally, shortly before I blew up my Achilles, but that's another issue. In fact, it's not bad. I'll lead on to that. Okay, so he took a picture of this, and this is as found. So after we got our photos, we just hooked him mid-body, took him to the side of the road, and just let him go. So not far from here, there is a mountain road that has green rat snakes on it. And I was with a couple of friends, and one of my friends had, I think he was 9 at the time. Anyway, he really wanted to see a green rat snake. So we're cruising the road, and on our first pass, a green rat snake had just started coming out onto the road. So I'm in the front passenger seat, and my buddy slams on the brakes, and he's a 9-year-old kid. He's super excited. He jumps out of the car and he starts running towards the snake.
Jesus.
The snake is going to bolt because it had just come out on the road. It is awake. It's not, So I'm sort of trying to run to intercept it. And of course, what does the snake do? The snake turns around and goes right back. Well, there's like a cliff on the side. It's a mountain road. There's a, So I end up going off the cliff, and my left, I kind of there was a rock down below, and it came down really hard on my left. It didn't. I heard a pop, and it didn't really register that anything was wrong until I started oh, by the way, I saw the snake. I was not even able to get photos of it. It had gone into a crack. It was gone. But we get back out on the road, and I'm trying to walk back to the car, and the whole back half of my foot is numb. I can't feel it. So I knew I'd done something wrong. And it was an Achilles injury. I don't know how bad of an Achilles injury it was. I can tell you that it took probably a year before I started feeling normal again. So anyway, black-tailed rattlesnake. Oh, oops, wrong mouse.
That's so nice.
Okay. This was from 2008, I believe. This is a coach whip,
No, whiptail.
and he is eating whiptail lizard. Story with this one, it's not as dramatic as busting your Achilles, but we had been hiking all day, came back to the car, and literally on the side of the road, he was, so yeah, that, predation, I have a thing for predation events. I think they're so awesome. So this is, coach whips, for those that don't know, will eat pretty much anything they can fit into their mouths. They're non-venomous, they're harmless, they're not gonna eat it. If you've tried to catch one, if you've successfully caught a coach whip, you've probably been bitten by a coach whip. But yeah, so.
Didn't happen to me either.
The secret to catching a coach whip is aim for the head, and if you're lucky, you'll get the tail.
Pretty good, yeah, there you
That's beautiful.
go. Okay.
Nice.
This is this was, I don't want to say it's the rarest, but it probably is the rarest reptile encounter I've had in Arizona. So I was on a permit through ASU. We were doing a telemetry study for Gila monsters in a local Phoenix mountain range. So what a buddy and I would do, my buddy was actually the one on the permit. I was added to the permit sort of as his understudy. But what we would do is 2 or 3 nights, 2 or 3 nights a week, we'd go out and we'd hike the washes of this mountain range. If we found a Gila, we were to take GPS coordinates. We were to collect the animal and take it back to ASU so they could have a radio transmitter implanted into them. At that point, once that happened, they would go back out to the wash where we collected it. Since we had the GPS, we knew exactly, and we would release it right where it was collected. In the process, by the way, this is another one of those survey opportunities. Tons of western diamondbacks, tiger rattlesnakes, blacktails, all kinds of cool stuff was seen. But the primary target was to find these. So it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm walking down the wash, and I hear up ahead like loud noises, hissing, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to roll it. I don't know what I'm going to run into here. Is it going to be a bobcat or a mountain lion or something? I'm in the middle of the mountains, and this is what I come upon. These actually, initially when I found them, I thought they may be attempted mating, but they're not. These are actually 2 adult male Gila monsters that are combating. And so we know that because one of the animals was already microchipped, the other one was not. So, but yeah, when they were taken back to the lab, you draw blood, you can determine sex, so on and so forth. So, so yeah, to this day, I don't know that I've seen. If I've seen cooler things, I can count them on one hand. But witnessing that, and we're just standing there, probably from here to the tripod here, and these animals are just going at it. They're just wrestling it out with each other. They don't care. You know, they know we're there. They don't care. So, super cool. This is right up there with another super, super rare thing that you may see. Anybody know what this is?
It's a tree. It's the tree.
Yeah, these are, what's that? What's that?
Mojave?
No, good guess, but no. All right, so this is a western diamondback rattlesnake. In the process, in the middle of having babies. These are the babies. Oh.
You can touch
That was
the
easy.
screen.
Don't touch the rattlesnake.
Means you
Oh, yeah, there you go, on the bottom.
All right, so these right here, and you can also tell she's skinny through here, but she's fat right here. That's as she's going towards her tip. These babies are still in their amniotic sac. So when rattlesnakes are born, they're born in a sac. And the snakes poke their head through the sacs and then they breathe. I believe I have another photo, which I thought it was this one, but it's the other one where you actually have a baby that's maybe on. Anyway, I have never, prior to this, I've never seen this. I found a mom with babies before, but never actually in the process of birthing. So, super, super cool. Yeah. So.
Try that arrow on the bottom.
just touch the screen.
That's too easy. All right. Anybody know what this is?
Speckle.
That's a speckled.
That's a speckled.
Factly.
That's a speckled.
Eating a big-
You know what that is?
Rubber big quail.
That's an adult female Gambel's quail.
Wow.
For reference, this snake is probably about that long. So I had gone out for a hike. I don't know whether this snake envenomated that bird or not, because as I walked by, I saw the bird. The bird was already dead. And I saw it was kind of a hill, a little bit of a hill, and I saw the snake crawling down. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go on. I know exactly where this is, so I'm gonna hit it all the way back and see if it. Sure enough, when I hit it all the way back, that's what I saw. I feel bad for the snake because the snake tried 5 or 6 times to get this thing down.
I wanna bury this.
It just couldn't do it. It just couldn't do it. So it left the bird for the coyotes, I
Oh,
guess.
no.
But it was super cool to see.
He's trying his best.
He's doing it. I felt so bad for him. I'm like, dude, next time pick a
I'm
smaller
probably
bird.
so hungry, and I can't get this thing in my tongue.
All right, this one may be a little hard to see. On the step, this is a patch nose snake. We actually see them out here quite a bit in the desert, like if you hike washes or whatnot, you'll see them. It is eating an unidentified rodent. And it must have just got this rodent because you can still see the struggle marks in the sand here. This was actually on the same trip with the blacktail rattlesnake that I showed you earlier. One of the guys I was with needed to use the bathroom. So we're like, okay, go use the bathroom, but time's a wasting, go. So these are actually steps down to a bathroom. And he's hollering at us. And he's like, bring your camera, so on and so forth, and that's what we saw. So the snake actually swallowed the rodent, and then he crawled into these rocks right here. And that's where we just kind of like let him be. So. All right. These right here are granite boulders, and this is a crack going right down the middle of them. And so I was with a buddy, your husband, and he's walking right by this boulder and he gets buzzed. And if you've ever been buzzed by a rattlesnake, it's a very distinctive sound. You know it when it happens. Except, and I can tell you, except for your husband occasionally. But he walks right by, and so he takes his flashlight out, and he's like, oh, it's an Arizona black rattlesnake. It's a young one, and it's eating, again, another unidentified rodent. And at first he could see that it was an Arizona black, but then he's like, oh, it's eating. So I came running up, and we spent probably 20, 25 minutes just taking pictures of this animal doing its thing. So. All right, so every once in a while, when you do this field herping thing, whether you cruise, whether you hike, whatever it is, you're gonna run into oddballs if you do it enough. So I actually found this animal cruising. I was with a friend, and We're cruising a blacktop road, and the snake was stretched out on the road. And when you get really good, you can tell by the body shape, you can tell what it is. But something about this animal obviously didn't look quite right. You're like, yeah, it looks like a diamondback, but it's weird. So we jumped out of the car, and we look at it, and this is completely striped from head to tail. Yeah, so I just included this because every once in a while you're going to run into weird patterned animals, striped animals that should be banded, diamonds, whatever. I have yet to run into an albino. I have friends that have, but I think that would be super cool.
That's an acorn?
That is a Western diamondback. Yep.
And the arguments online over, I don't know if it was that snake or another one.
That one too, so.
Yeah, the one,
Oh, it was a different one,
yeah.
but it was, so behind the scenes here, this animal was collected because we wanted to determine whether this anomaly was genetic or not. This animal was bred with this is a male. This was bred with a completely striped female, and all the babies were striped. So it did prove out to be genetic. But yeah, that one, yeah, that was.
Oh, that's great.
All right. This was my profile picture on Facebook for a while. So Steve's right here.
Yeah.
All right. So story behind this one, I was hiking with Wendy's husband. We hadn't seen much to this point. It's a funny story. Hadn't seen much to this point. So we were resting, and he decided he wanted to go up the wash a little bit, and I was just camped out right here. I was going to hang out for a little bit. He comes back, and he gets buzzed. But it's that time of year where cicadas are out. And so he was like, I'm like, dude, you just got buzzed. And he's like, no, it was a cicada. I'm like, no, you just got buzzed. Like, and so we're shining the rocks, and this little guy, he was probably that long, young one. It's a speckled rattlesnake. Was in a crack, in a crevice. And since we were just about ready to head back and we hadn't seen a whole lot, we're like, we're just gonna camp out and see what it does. And he came out, and I didn't pose this shot, I didn't set the shot up at all. He literally crawled right over my foot, across the wash, and there was a bigger rock pile over here, and he crawled back into that rock pile. I've actually had this happen a couple of times where I'm standing there and a rattlesnake will just crawl over my feet or through my feet. You're just another part of the habitat to them. You're a tree or a rock, they don't care. So yeah, so anyway, I've always liked this picture, and credit to your husband for taking it. And it was not a cicada. All right, Western Diamondbacks making more Western Diamondbacks. I don't know for those that, so this one's the male, it's on top. This is the female. This is rattlesnakes have 2 male sexual organs on either side of their tail. So the male will wrap around the female and insert one or both to make babies. I have actually, and I didn't include it because I thought I wanted to limit the number of photos. From the opposite way, I actually saw the tails before I saw the whole snake. I actually came around and saw it this way. So this is what it looks like when they're actually mating. Sometimes if you're on Facebook, you'll see combat with the males that are reared up, and people will say that's mating. That's not mating, that's male combat. This is what mating looks like. It's decidedly less dramatic, but just as important.
I don't know, sometimes it can get pretty dramatic if those males get.
They can, but usually like for example, like he would like rub her up and down her body with his chin,
Yeah.
but that was pretty much it.
Wow.
So, yeah. All right. So that is a Chihuahuan spotted whiptail. I hadn't seen anything on this hike, but I saw this, and something as simple as this makes the hike for me. Chihuahuan spotted whiptail. munching on a huge bug. I don't even know what that is. Whatever it is, it looks tasty. It's probably good protein.
Great shot.
I always thought these looked like tegus. They're like North American tegus.
They were bigger than these here. Nice.
All right. This was actually October. We were up at a known overwintering site for Arizona black rattlesnakes. We were hiking around. My buddy yelled,
Unfortunately, there was a break in the video,
"Alligator!"
so we continue.
Alligator juniper, yes. This is the base. What he's doing here is he's sitting here and he's just waiting for lizards. Because as we're hiking the hillside, there's lizards all over the place. And he's just waiting for one dumb lizard to not be paying attention. And so, yeah, so that's, that is that. It's not often, usually when you find these guys, you're walking a hillside and you get buzzed, and out of the corner of your eye, you see the snake like slither off. So I was, we had walked by this tree, I don't know how many times, 2 or 3 times, before somebody bothered looking at the base of it. And he's pretty well camouflaged. If you didn't know what you were looking at, you just totally miss him.
They climb up that bark sometimes too.
Yeah, they can be, I actually have photos of one that was probably 3 or 4 feet off the ground. Okay. On second thought, I probably should have included more photos, but. Any other questions?
I have a question. You're talking about hiking at night and hearing dangerous sounds. When you do your hikes at night like that, you carry a sidearm, you carry your stick, like how dangerous is it?
Depends on where I'm at.
Yeah.
Depends on where I'm at. If I'm, honestly, I'm more worried about people than I am animals. So, I have been down by the border and carried a sidearm. If the place that I'm going to is kind of sketch, I got you. Typically speaking, no. Typically speaking, I won't have a sidearm.
Cats and all that, like they're not really dangerous people?
No, I've never, the only time that I have felt in danger from wildlife, by the way, if you are gonna hike at night, carry a flashlight, do not shine into a beehive. Don't do it. I don't like it. I've literally been chased.
Good advice.
They will storm your flashlight because that's what they like. That's what So yeah, just don't do it. You got a question?
Where are the lizards?
Where are the lizards? All over the place. I'll tell you, I see so many lizards when I'm night hiking. I should photograph them more, but I did include one. Actually, I included 3 lizards: the 2 Gilas and the Chihuahuan spotted woodtail. My fault.
The one being eaten by the coach.
Oh, and the one for 4 lizards. Well, 3.5.
Yeah.
Do you have a good field guide recommendation of a website?
Yes, and I should have got photos of it. There is a Amphibians and Reptiles of Arizona by Holy Cross and Brennan. It's either, I think it's volume 2 now. Either volume is great. There it is right there. That's volume 1.
And an online version.
And they have an online version as well. You can go to, reptilesofaz.org is the online version of that field guide. But yeah, if I'm gonna recommend one Arizona specific field guide that kind of tells you what you need to know, it's that one.
Just one minute about that particular field guide. It's really good for people starting out with herping. There's even sections in the back of each species and a spot for you to make notes, like date, temperature, moon phase. So you can go through and check off the animals you found and include little attributes about that situation that could help you predict future encounters.
Yes.
It's really cool and a really good note for especially kids that are starting out.
And on the website version, if you go to like the amphibians and you're out at night, and you, especially like now when we're getting rain, you're hearing amphibians and you know they're amphibians and you have no clue what they are, if you go to the amphibian section's website and click on it, they have a little link that shows each sound and plays it through your phone so you can identify, oh, that's a red spotted turtle, oh, that's a thorn desert.
It's a cheat code here. You can actually play that,
Yep.
and you can actually get animal. You can get
Oh, yeah.
you can get them to start calling up.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, my question was, it was similar, not just something to ID them with, but I see things because I hike, but I don't know how to look for them to guarantee that I would see, and I would like to be able to see, to take the pictures. I don't wanna touch anything, I just wanna see, but I don't know habitats or times of days. Does that field guide have that, or is there another resource?
It will. Yeah, you'll. The trick though is that field guide actually has photos of habitat, and it will tell you this is, upland juniper habitat, whatever. And then I don't remember if that one does or not, but it will say some animals found here are blah 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 blah. To your point, when I'm hiking, there's a mental. You have to. Your brain trains itself to pick up order and chaos.
Yeah, I see things that most people miss.
Yeah.
But-
So there's a lot of people will walk right. The snakes are counting on you just walking right on by. But when you do this enough, your brain will recognize you're looking at something before you even realize you're looking at something. Your brain has sort of you train your brain to have a mental image of it. And for me, I pick out the pattern before, so I know I'm looking at something, and then it's like, oh, it's a diamondback. But my brain had already zeroed in on it before I consciously realized that it was a diamondback. So, does that answer your question?
In other words, just the more times you see things, the more likely you are to see things, because you're training.
That's
your brain to
true.
see it.
You want to look for dynamic features. So, typically in the Phoenix area, I hike a lot of washes with big rock walls, because big rock walls have holes, and they have, usually at the base of them, they have big rocks. These are all places snakes like to hang out. And so, I guess the best way I can say it, think like I said, if you were a snake, where would you hike, where would you hang out?
That you pointed out, I was like, oh my gosh, it looks just like the milk snake I found, but it was just kind of tucked into a rock, and I didn't want to even touch it or anything. I just took a picture, but yeah, I know there were more around, but I just didn't want to. I mean, I really want to like learn to hold them and all that kind of thing at some point, but I also don't want it to affect the animal either. So I'm kind of at a.
If you have an anchor to hold a snake, I know we're talking about the Arizona Reptile Expo. And if you know anybody that has snakes, you just want to hold a snake and see what it feels like, I would do that.
Okay.
That said, I mean, I don't want to get so overprotective here. If you found, like, say, hypothetically, a gopher snake and you picked it up, you're not scarring that animal for its life.
Okay.
I
just want to.
A lot of times, when it comes to behaviors and modifying snakes' behavior, it really is possible to love a site to death. There's one very popular wash in Phoenix that for a while there was hit every night by different herpers. Eventually, what the snakes, they may not show outward signs of being bothered, but when they get flashlights in their eyes every night for 3 or 4 months, they're going to find different places to, and those places may not be as good as the original place. So.
Right, and that's what I'm worried about, I more than anything, because I mean the habitat is already dwindling down because of population and various other factors. But
I'd say your concern is in the absolute right place. These animals, by definition, are resilient. They're tough animals, but that said, it's always important to realize that they don't have another place to go. Like they don't have another home. So
does finding that fine line, does that just take time as you?
It does. It does. I mean, it's the same thing as the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it.
Right.
So with me, when I find a snake, 99 times out of 100, I will take photos of it and
leave it alone.
Leave it alone completely. For me, the best feeling in the world is to take photos of an animal, and at least in my mind, that animal never knew I was there.
Yeah.
So. Any other questions? Any other stories to tell? No?
And that's pretty much what I caught from the meeting. Hope you enjoyed the video.